Hi, good morning. I'm Frank.
I'm Lisa.
This is the Be Encouraged show with Frank and Lisa on Motivation Monday. It's snowing outside here in beautiful Colorado. Lisa.
Yes, it is. It's
Yeah.
so beautiful. It's like we're in a snow globe.
Okay.
It is.
Yeah.
When I looked outside, I felt like I was in a
It
snow
is.
globe, right, ladies?
Yes.
They barely made it here alive. They
I
saw
know.
multiple accidents.
I know.
It was an adventure.
It was an adventure. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we have Sarah Lee, really, truly. That's her name.
Yes.
And Kathy Sparnins as well, on with us this morning. So welcome to the Be Encouraged show. I'm Frank Sinclair along with the beautiful Lisa Sennett.
Yay.
We provide a platform for entrepreneurs and community-focused individuals to expand their reach and create a positive impact in the Colorado Springs community and beyond. Hey, and we're joining you live from Colorado Springs with some great guests. If you want to join us internationally, please go to our website and select International via Instagram to join us live from anywhere in the world.
So today's show is sponsored by Crescio, who offers to help social impact companies with pay what you can consultations to increase your leads, among other things. So visit them at Crescio.com to learn more and check out the flyer that we provided you ladies later when you get back to your office.
Indeed.
Thank you.
You know, I used to date Kathy Sparnins, and I have her here today. You didn't know that, did you?
No,
She didn't either.
was that in the Carolinas? Was that a real story?
Back in high school,
I
right?
never got it wasn't high school. I was like the senior prom princess, and there he was.
And
No,
here I was.
he is so making that up.
Yes, that's what he does. Bless Michelle to be married to him
I
because
know. She is a strong woman.
she is an amazing woman with lots of
Secure.
endurance and
Very
lots of
secure.
love.
There it is. Alrighty.
Breaking the ice.
So, yeah, breaking the ice. Kathy Sparnins just rejected me. So a couple hours of therapy, I will be okay. And
We
let me
know
t-
people.
we,
Yes.
yes, we
Well,
do.
but you bring up the whole idea of grief. You know,
Well,
you are having the grief of rejection right now.
Oh, yes.
And of course, that's what I do. I am. I know.
Oh my! Oh boy! Glad we got this show squared away.
May I introduce the
You
guest?
may,
Okay.
please.
He's in rare form today. You
I
ladies
know.
have him all riled up.
Just keep drinking that coffee.
It's on.
All right. Well, to my right here is Miss Kathy Sparnins, Executive Director of Voices of Grief. She brings 45 years of experience in family and youth services with a focus on grief education over the past 2 decades. She created a hospice bereavement program and produced Voices of Grief, a documentary honored at the APA annual convention.
Oh my! Look at you
Welcome,
with your
Kathy.
famous self.
Thank you.
Kathy with a
Kathy
K.
with a K.
And to her right is the beautiful Mrs. Sarah Lee. Yes, spelled just like the bakery
No,
or the
with an
company.
H.
Oh, it's with
Pie
an
with
H.
an H.
Oh, yeah, there's no H in the pie.
Spelled correctly.
She does not make pies, right? What is your specialty again?
I'm more of a cook.
Okay.
My son bakes.
Okay, good.
There is a killer from scratch brownie recipe that
Ooh.
appears fresh baked on my stove every so often.
What is his name?
Jonathan Lee, 14 years old, killer baker. It was his COVID obsession. He
Oh, I
started
love
baking.
that.
And he does cheer. So talk about totally diverse interests, right?
Really?
Oh, my.
Yes.
Where does he do cheer at?
Front Range Elite Cheer is a family-owned gym here in town.
My daughter trains, she's a cheerleader at Banning, but she
Nice.
goes there for tumbling
Yes.
with Coach Ryan, who
Yes.
is amazing.
We adore Coach Ryan.
Oh, yeah, he
Yes.
is a rock star.
Well, there's a little plug. Best family gym in town.
Okay, real quick, I gotta finish with the intro.
Good job.
Okay.
Sorry.
So, Sarah Lee, I like
Grief.
you.
Oh
my gosh.
Talking about grief.
So Sarah is the program director of Voices of Grief, leveraged 20 plus years in nonprofit administration and expertise in hospice, chaplaincy, and event planning. With a background in psychology and theology, Sarah facilitates grief support groups and develops education programs alongside the beautiful Kathy Sparnins.
The amazing.
No,
Incredible.
we are a team.
Different.
Dynamic.
Oh.
Kathy Sparnins.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen.
We're leaving it on there.
Leave it there.
This is really good for our self-worth.
Yes.
I'm feeling it.
Yeah,
Good.
we just tell the truth about you.
Yeah.
Yay.
Right?
We
Yeah.
love you.
Kathy,
Yes.
how are you?
I am so well. As Lisa said, it is like a snow globe out there. We're just happy that we made it here today. I came here from Woodland Park, and it's a little dicey on the pass, and then it was still dicey down here. So thank you for letting us share this time with you. We risked life and limb to get.
Well, we're glad to have you.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, I live 7 minutes away, but
Yeah, he's spoiled.
yeah.
Yeah, he is a
Yeah,
spoiled
so-
I'm a half hour away as well.
Kathy, tell our audience a little bit about Miss Sparnins. Who are you?
Well, I think I'm probably better defined right now just with my passion for the whole idea of grief education and hospice and bereavement. You know, my passion has been there for a long time, as we said, those 40 years, which I was doing other work around with families and even substance abuse, you know, like 20 so years ago. But in the last 20 plus years, it's been more really tending to the heart and soul of people who are grieving a significant loss in their life. You know, it seems like, you know, we've been in a big fundraising mode lately with the holiday home tour up in Woodland Park, and in that jovial atmosphere, I still would run into people who were, you know, in the midst of some grief, and it just reminds you of, you know, the holidays are a very tender time.
They are.
You know, for whatever, you know, many, many reasons for that, but especially if there's a tender space in your heart for that there's been a loss. It just seems like it's the time that's just going to come up, and I think we just need a little extra care.
Yes.
And so part of what we've been doing to kind of give some support to that is our holiday event every year, and this year our event is on December 14th, next
Before
Saturday.
we get into your holiday,
Don't
event,
even go there.
because I want at the end of our show that be top of mind.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that we can
Yeah.
share that and make sure. But you know, what's the genesis of this? People just don't. We live in
Don't
a
just
time.
start doing this. Well,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
I guess part of what I encountered this week is talking to people that were suffering from what I call the ghosts of grief. And I think my own ghosts of grief and what I've experienced in life have come from, you know, watching my father, who was this bright, wonderful guy who struggled with substance abuse. And, you know, in his life, he really kind of lost his way. And he died of suicide at a pretty young age, in his
How old
50s.
was he? In his
He was just
50s?
in his 50s.
Oh,
And then very close to that time, my youngest sister, who's 14 years younger, was killed in a car accident. So I was like about 28 when that happened. So that was one of my first introductions to, first of all, watching my dad, and then my parents' divorce, and then my sister's death. I don't think our culture knows how to prepare us for those big moments in life.
True.
You know, we hear about it and we say, gosh, I'm sorry. But, you know, if there's any level of trauma to a loss, it's important that you have some extra levels of support.
Yeah.
So that called to me, since some of my own suffering, I think the good thing that can happen for us when we go through our own suffering is we become seekers, and we want to know what can we do to heal ourselves, and then and if we're in the right programs, then we get taught how to take our own healing out to others, that we don't have to be in the midst of our own struggles and still try to help somebody else, because then things get in the way. So the lovely thing is I had my own good therapist and my own good support system. So now I can, without interference, really be fully present to somebody. And so as I started this work, we had just moved back to Colorado about 22 years ago, and I found Dr. Alan Wolfelt, who is the director of the Center for Loss and Life Transition. And this gifted teacher is actually world-renowned, and he lives up in Fort Collins, and then he has another center over in Arizona.
Yeah.
So I began going through the certification program with him. You know, my other experience had been in psychology and also a little bit of chaplaincy with another group here in town. So I really wanted to get some extra level training, and so turned to him. He has a really great program. So got trained by Dr. Wolfelt, and then started.
How do you spell his last name?
It's a Wolfelt. Wolfelt.
Okay.
Just again, his life's work was based on some of his early grief.
Yes.
And the
Yeah.
grieving
Isn't
of
that
his
always the case?
I
Yes.
know. And, well, and
Yes.
I just have to acknowledge you, Frank, because you know that so well. I just remember the first time I met you, I thought, he asked me the best questions, and you just did it again. And where does this really start in you?
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
You know, because you can spout around and say all the stuff you do, but where was this born in your heart and your
Yes.
soul?
Yes.
And
Yes.
so, and I think I've been lucky enough to find Sarah Lee as a real companion with me on this journey we're both
Yes.
on, to bring what we do to suffering people in this
That's so
town, you know,
needed.
and they don't just suffer the grief of death, you know,
So
what
yes.
we have just begun a program of working with people who have lost young infants. So, so that's death, but we're also working on caregiving and offering support to caregivers,
Yes.
especially we realize caregivers can give so much they become really wounded themselves. So we are doing a lot of programming now for caregivers, and we're planning to do more non-death grief coming up in the next year or so.
Good.
Divorce grief.
Yes,
Well,
we're
divorce
working on,
grief
we're
is
starting to
huge.
develop
That's a big grief.
I'm twice divorced,
well,
and
I
I
am one-time divorced, so
Oh.
yes, I
One
know.
time.
Yeah, I know. You know,
and
I-
one time's
time.
enough.
Separated.
One time's
I'm
enough.
currently separated. So
Are
I'm
you?
walking
Oh,
through
you're
the
walking
journey.
through the journey.
I don't know what's going to happen, right? But,
Yeah.
but the unknown, and there's grief in that.
Oh, yes.
Absolutely, there
And one of
is.
the things we talk a lot about in our groups for any kind of loss is powerlessness. And the powerlessness we have, right, in our relationships,
Yeah.
the people we care about, the choices being made. There are a lot of battles here, and so it causes that deep introspection of who am I and what's my role in this, and how am I going to move forward.
When you
Indeed.
mentioned the struggles of the
Wow.
grief of ghosts,
Yes.
that I had to write that down because oh my gosh, that just resonates with me because it's so, I never thought of it that way.
Well, isn't it the truth? And when
Yes.
any significant thing happens, you know, let's do a side-by-side comparison, even though you can only go so far with it. But, you know, when you're going through a divorce, there's deep loss, there's questioning, you know, what have I done, and what are my choices, and what does this mean, and am I a failure? Well, and
Yes.
whereas somebody coming to us who's just lost the love of their life, they have lost their bearings. They've lost the mirror they used to have.
Yeah.
So they're very similar, just very wrenching questions. And what we have found that is so powerful about what we do, I think, and has been taught by Dr. Wolfelt, is when you have the gift of presence with people, you help them acknowledge and with compassion what the process is.
Yeah.
Because you can get stuck in the process.
Yes.
You can go, okay, so I'm a big idiot and I didn't do this, and so therefore, or else I'm crazy now, so something's wrong with me. So then you get stopped in the, I almost want to call it a holy process because it's so deep.
Mm-hmm.
And we have,
I resonate with that.
Yeah.
we just
Well,
don't
the
have
self-talk
compassion.
is what hijacks
It
Yes.
totally
Because it gets
hijacks
stuck.
it.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Because and
Yeah.
a big piece of that we want to be sure we talk about is the culture and the myths of grief, right?
Yes.
There is so much shaming
Yeah.
for us being able to be gentle with ourselves in the process. And it takes a long time and it's messy.
Yeah.
And there's 2 steps forward, half a step back. I said that in the exact reverse. So 2 steps backwards, half a step forward.
Yeah.
And the culture doesn't understand that. So the culture is pushing us, but the reality is grief is a slow journey
Yeah.
that takes a lot of time because we are truly rebuilding our lives, whether it's a death, a divorce, a health diagnosis that's life altering. All of those things completely change our perception of who we are and our resources and how we show up in the world. And that takes a very long time to rebuild.
Why
So
do
the
you think,
slow-
Sarah, as we talk about culture, because it really sets the foundation for life,
Yes.
right? But culture is formed out of humanity,
Yes.
right? It just doesn't drop out of the sky.
Right.
Why do we have a culture in all these years and all the grief that's happened and all the struggles in our hearts?
Right.
Why do we still have a culture that still seems to push back from being authentic in this space?
You know what? In America,
Good question.
we are very afraid of anything that makes us feel less than, right?
Hmm.
Look at our commercials on TV.
Yep.
Right? Look at what's being the latest, the greatest, the brightest, the fastest, the newest, right? iPhones. What are we on now? iPhone 18?
16.
Okay.
16
So-
Pro.
Okay. So the reality
Merry
is in
Christmas.
culture, right? We are
Yeah.
programmed, and I will say capitalism is a big piece of this, right? We are programmed for better, faster, right? Now, mental health is not about better, faster, okay? And
Not at
mental
all.
health is not about papering over my pain
Right.
to look pretty and perfect.
Whatever
And the
that
reality
means.
is grief is mental health care. We are paying attention to our deepest wounds.
Yeah.
And what that requires is honesty, vulnerability,
Transparency.
gentleness.
Transparency.
Yes.
Mhm.
We talked about community, right? If I can't go to others in my brokenness and say I am hurting and desperate and I don't know what to do, then what we do is we isolate. And grief is incredibly isolating.
Oh, yeah.
And so the culture's lack of willingness to step into these messy spaces means that we're more and more isolated when we're hurting. And that leads to this spiral, right? And so the really difficult pain here, we love Brene Brown.
Oh, yeah.
So do I.
Vulnerability,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Vulnerability is such a risk. And part of my story is I was leading a women's group when I had a miscarriage. And I walked into that room one night completely in shambles. And those women circled around me and held me. And I was leading the group, right? Talk about vulnerability. And that's part of my heart for our support groups is that when we have people around us who have had a similar loss, and what I found out that night was 4 other women had had miscarriages.
Well,
We had never talked about it.
yeah.
Yeah.
I had led that group for 2 years, right? But in my brokenness, walking into a room, I found community, support, love, ugly cry, right?
Yeah.
And yet those women walked with me.
You created Me Too moments.
Yes.
Yes.
Powerful.
And that's what.
Yeah,
Well, and that's
exactly
a grief
right.
as well, Frank, right? Like
Yes.
abuse.
Yes.
Okay, there are so many of these things
Yeah.
where, but if we can't be vulnerable, and that's where the culture, everything that Hollywood stands for, right, is
Yes.
appearance.
Absolutely.
And it's about being the best and the greatest, and grief knocks us on our heels.
Yeah.
And I want to empower people with a grief story to be vulnerable. Let's share our stories. And that's what Kathy has done for me. When I met Kathy, I realized my story can help impact lives.
How did
And
you
me
guys
being
meet?
willing, her film, yeah.
Oh.
Well, and when I was producing the film, after the production and the film premiered, we traveled some, but I also shared it in community. And
Yeah.
Fuller theology school.
Seminary.
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 That's where
Pasadena.
Sarah was that I went,
Here locally in the Springs.
Yeah,
I
they
was
have
in
a
one of their
local one.
classes.
Yeah.
Nice.
which was really, probably a guided thing.
Yeah.
We realized later, so a few years later, she found me. And I just wanted to add some things that Sarah covered so beautifully. Because she brought in the whole idea of the cultural messages and how powerful they can be, because it's kind of insidious. It's sort of like how we get taught are the various voices out there, either in the media or in whatever the adulting is out there at the moment. What I realize is in the Industrial Revolution is when things began to change. It used to be we lived in farming communities. We
Close.
had churches, or we had grange halls, and people would go there. People saw death.
Yeah.
They saw the animals on the farm, they saw the infants, they saw the elders. And after the Industrial Revolution, communities became scattered. And therefore, again, I cannot emphasize enough the power of community in healing.
Yes.
So every time we find our people, that is one way we can begin allowing our vulnerability, because I think we all realize we're not telling you to go out and tell your deepest vulnerabilities to just anybody. You need to find people who are heart connected.
Yes.
Grief is not about head space, it's
No,
about heart
totally
space.
about heart.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And just acknowledging how powerful some of those voices are, because we are part of the culture. So in our groups, we run the gamut of from the best and brightest to folks who have suffered and maybe haven't had all the best. So we have everybody. And the thing of it is, you think most people would give themselves kindness around the loss.
No.
And do you know what we find is that level of shame that keeps coming up, that Brene Brown has done so well in some of her books, the courage to be vulnerable.
Yes.
Because I think we teach a
big
lot
deal.
about vulnerability and the importance of honoring the process rather than shaming ourselves for the process.
But you know why Brene's so good in space? Because she's incredibly jacked up.
Yes. And she's open about it.
Yeah,
She has-
and she's open
She's
about
transparent.
it.
She's chosen to share,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
She's
Her
real.
Yeah.
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 And that takes
That's the
courage.
model.
Yeah.
right?
It's a
great model.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's
It
the
is.
truth, right?
It
That's
is
my
the truth.
challenge is how can we be more honest about our pain? Because we will find community. But we have to take those little tiny baby steps, right? Not with anybody. We have to test the waters, find the right people. But I think the more that we are
You know what?
willing-
I do it with anybody.
and I love
I
you
don't
for that,
even
Fran.
care.
I
Right?
know.
I love you for that.
And I'm at that point where I'm finally doing it too. It took me 52 years to get there, but I am like, I'm done putting on a
Yeah.
mask, putting on a fake tiara, acting like everything's perfect. I mean, I'm done with
Thank
that.
you.
You know what I'm
So
saying?
I
It
do
is-
think that's part of the gift of our wisdom years, and,
Yes.
and some of that
Yes.
wisdom begins probably in our
Agree here,
40s
right?
and 50s.
We are in everyone.
Yes, everyone.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, and you've gone through enough pain and healing that you also know how to respect yourself, so you're not taking such a big risk. If they don't know what to do with you, you know what to do with
Well,
That's
the-
right.
Yeah, and that's the ultimate level of immaturity, not to deal rightly with the pain.
Yes.
Exactly.
Because
So
the
well
pain is what ultimately creates the purpose.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right? And
But yeah, I think
Well-
what you were talking about, the shaming part,
Yeah.
like when my first husband left me for all the wrong reasons, it was crazy, but I was so wounded and I was so shamed and raked over the coals by religious people,
Yes,
by
yes.
people I considered my friends and all. And back then divorce was not popular in
Right.
2000 and
especially
Yes.
the church.
and especially within the church,
Yeah.
all the
Yeah.
things, and even, but the second divorce, I even same experience, to include, I had to leave a church that I was there for many, many years, but it all came down to, oh my gosh, what is their problem?
Yeah.
And I really did have a valid story. But I just crawled in my hole of woundedness
Yes.
and shame
Mhm.
and all the things. And I think society puts you in that box.
I-
Even though it's more popular to be divorced now, I can easily say I'm a blended family, and everyone's like, "Oh yeah, I got
Aren't we
that."
all?
Yeah, exactly. Aren't we
Yes,
all now?
yes.
Yeah.
See, so something critical in what you're talking about,
Yeah.
right, is shame and that idea of distance. People didn't take the time to hear your story.
Nope.
And so what happens so often, and it's not just the church, it happens everywhere, right?
It does.
But so often
Yeah.
people look from afar and they connect the dots of what they think, and then they speak upon you, right?
Yeah.
And the opposite of that is sitting with you and creating that space and listening.
Mm.
And if people in your church had come alongside you
Mhm.
and said, "You must be broken right now. Can we just spend some time?" My guess is that might have transformed your sense of self-worth
Oh,
as you
totally.
walk through that journey.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we're trying to do. We do support and education because we want to, number one, sit with those people who are broken. But number two, raise the awareness in our community that having the compassion to sit and listen is very different than having the answers that are going to help. You don't have to have the answers.
Mhm.
And the reality is people will find their way through grief.
Yes.
Their way, because grief is incredibly unique for each of us, right?
Mhm.
We have to find our way.
Yeah.
But what they need is support, caring space, permission, love. Rabbi Kushner in Kathy's film says, "Talk less, hug more."
Yeah.
Yes.
Rabbi Kushner was in your film?
Yes.
Oh, I gotta see it.
How can we talk less, hug more, right?
Yes.
We got a hug campaign.
We have the hug campaign. When you said that, I'm like, oh my gosh.
We
That's
will
what we
happily
do.
sign on.
Yeah, we do. We do a pop up, and
Yeah.
we went down to the courthouse.
Yeah.
People going into there aren't very happy,
No.
right?
Right.
Free hugs.
Fear on
Do you
their
know
face.
how Free Mom Hugs is an organization nationwide?
No.
No?
Kids who are LGBTQ,
Yeah.
that is their heart, is we want to be a warm space to just give you a hug. So they actually, it's called Free Mom Hugs. Look it up. Fantastic
Oh, I
organization.
haven't heard of that.
Yes,
Neat.
they might be a like-minded.
Well, we're free mom and dad hugs then.
There you go.
And pawpaw hugs.
That's
I'm not a
right.
mama yet,
Yeah,
but
Yeah, my
Yay.
most incredible thing to date that I've been able to do in life
Yeah.
is be a granddad.
Oh,
And
yeah.
It's
so
beautiful.
I'm so stoked about 13 grandchildren.
Oh my Lord.
Yeah.
Well, then you are
Yeah.
healed forever.
I
You
am.
know, some people ask me, well, what do I do with some of my pain? And I sometimes say, one of the best things is to go find an infant or a toddler and just look into their eyes
healing.
or play with them for the day, because what you're looking into the eyes of innocence.
Yes.
Yes.
And
Perfection.
purity.
And joy.
Yes, and
right?
joy.
Joy.
And pure
Yeah.
joy.
Yes.
Yes.
It's
Sit
so
on the
fun.
carpet with a teddy bear and a train
Yes.
and a 2-year-old and
Right.
just see what happens.
That's
And-
right.
And then you can find a golden retriever and have
We're dog people.
I knew it.
You're
I
the
knew
golden
it.
retriever.
How can you talk about grief without talking about dogs?
Well, I know it.
We're
Yeah.
gonna have therapy dogs at our event,
Oh,
so
good.
people are needing a little bit of fur love. We'll have
Yeah.
therapy dogs at our event.
You
on
know,
Saturday.
I do want to mention to you ladies that I host the only women's resilience fertility support group here in the Springs.
Oh.
Yes, so I need to come have you guys come as a guest
Yes.
and speak
Yes,
to the ladies.
we would love to do that. Yeah,
Mhm.
because look at the grief in that. And-
Exactly.
Oh
And,
my
and every
gosh.
woman's story is so different,
Different.
and dynamic. It's like, wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I could speak in there. When I remarried with the love of my life after a crummy divorce, I was 10 years older, and so than the perfect man I found. So having children was a challenge. I had to hurry up and get on it.
Yes. Oh my
and I
gosh.
didn't. It didn't work.
Oh.
Which is grief.
There's
That
a grief
is
in
grief.
that.
There's big grief in
Right.
that.
So you
yes.
didn't have any?
We didn't.
And no one
Yeah.
talks about it, right?
Right,
No one,
yeah.
and then people were probably like, "Where's the kids?"
Well,
Yeah.
it happens still. they look at you like, well, you have kids somewhere, don't you? You know,
And there's shame
right.
so often projected
Yeah,
if you
into
don't
the
have
question.
If you don't have
even.
kids, or if you're not
Yes.
married.
Right.
Like my
Yes.
sister,
Yeah.
never married, no kids. I had all the marriages, divorces, and kids. And you probably know her, Kim Searles with Beneficent.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
right.
That's her
So
sis.
yeah, she's
Okay.
never been married, but rightfully so. She's a strong, beautiful,
Yes.
gorgeous woman.
Yeah.
But the man who she may marry someday needs to be
Right there
stronger,
with her.
right?
And Kim
Yeah.
is a success.
Yes,
and I would
she
say
is.
that there are a lot of people who look at an unmarried woman at a certain age
Yep.
and believe you must somehow have some secrets or some damage.
Have a
right?
problem, and I'm
Because
like,
why
no,
are
she
you
doesn't.
not-
Right.
Exactly. Kim
Come on
Searles
now,
has to go.
Sarah. I'm gonna challenge
Uh,
that
Art
because
will.
Sure.
probably you
Our
do have some
culture.
problems or
Oh
something.
my God.
Frank,
We all do.
We
okay.
all
We all do.
We're
That's
all
human.
human.
right?
Exactly.
And that's the reality.
That's right.
So why do we judge?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Why
And,
do we judge?
and I could tell you from her walk, I would watch it all the time. People would be like, I want to set you up. I want to. She's like, I don't want to be set up. I'm so happy single. Like I
If
really
Kim
am
is
But
good.
listening, thank you, Kim, for being real and honest.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
I
But
wanna
it can be a
give
positive
kudos.
as well. We
For
want to make sure that we
sure.
don't
Yeah.
frame it
Right.
just because, I
Right.
think it's human to look at a beautiful woman that's in her 50s and go, that's different,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, and I don't. This doesn't mean I'm maybe being negative. It's like,
Yeah.
what the guys were knuckleheads, or what? What was
Right.
going on
Yeah.
here, right?
So Frank, the invitation though,
Yeah.
and what you're saying
Oh my God.
is take the time to listen.
Right.
Yeah.
Have the conversation. That's the invitation, right?
And
Yeah.
I have
Is
had
that we
that with
don't
her because I
presume-
could not take it.
I know.
And did you learn some beautiful things?
I did.
Oh.
I did. We're very good friends. Yeah,
See,
she was-
that's the beauty of this is we take the time to listen and to ask
Right.
the questions.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's the invitation in all this is
Yeah.
will we go beyond that surface level conversation of our
and-
social presumptions
Right.
and dig a little deeper and
and
ask
fill in the
questions.
blanks ourselves
Right.
Right.
instead of allowing a person to, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Let me ask you a question.
Thank you.
Doggone it, you gotta get excited about it.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
is. I love it.
I know.
You're the only dude here. I feel
I
like I'm
know.
outnumbered.
You got some strong
Oh, there's
women
a
in the
show,
house
right?
today.
Okay. You can handle it.
Kathy knows.
Kathy, Robert Frost's quote, and I know you know this, when he says, I shall be telling this with a sigh. Somewhere ages and ages hence, two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled, and that's made all the difference. What's your road less traveled?
I think my road less traveled is learning to have courage to be a seeker. And when I feel some pain, that even though I still have those messages from the culture that still come up, even at this stage in my life, that I don't listen to them as often, that I can kind of push through and go, okay. There was at some point that I realized almost everybody that I really respect, and I think they're a lot smarter than me. I think, you know what? I know they fumble around just like I
Just
do.
like I do.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so it gives me courage to take steps in the pain, and again, it's like when we are having respect for our own process, the feelings we're so afraid of actually, and it's something we work a lot on in our groups, is these feelings that feel so dramatic that we're kind of wanting to hide from for a while, and sometimes you have to because
Yeah.
no reward for speed. But the way that we start allowing them to actually lead us, what do we need to do next? And the very thing we're afraid of, all those deep dramatic feelings, part of that is helping you, like, okay, I'm angry, I'm hurt, what do I need? What can help me with this hurt? I've found this group of kindred spirits that are loving to me. Does this mean I really need more of that in my life? You know what I'm saying? It's like if we have the courage to take another step, it's like, oh my gosh, that big dramatic feeling that I wanted to hide under their couch really did help me to walk.
Indeed. Man, this is such a deep, encompassing
It is.
subject. We're so glad Voices of Grief exist.
Thank
It's
you.
so needed. Sarah, Lisa's going to ask both of you a closing question. Unfortunately, we have to wind down.
Yep.
But for you, because I know you guys work so closely together in this organization, you do good work. What would crazy good look like with Voices of Grief?
We want to expand,
Yeah.
okay? Divorce grief, pet loss. We're doing some infant loss. We just did our first ever substance use loss group. We want to expand, but to expand, we have to have the breadth organizationally, right? Right now, our office is within another organization. We're grateful for that, but that limits then what we can offer. Funding would be fantastic for new staff so we can really expand. Children's grief. We have a fantastic partner in Woodland Park. Shelley Lassiter-Reed is incredible, has a vision for kids. We'd love to bring her on at a higher level. Right now we've got her on this much. And so the goal is we can continue to meet more and more needs in the community with the appropriate resources. So we're working on fundraising, we're working on program development, we're working on partnerships. All of that is going to allow us to create more and more support. So getting the word out about our support is a two-part invitation. Number one, it's come, we're here for you. Number two, it's would you help us help our community?
Yeah.
There is so much grief in our community,
Yes.
not just death, a lot. And we want to step into that space, but we need the community's help to expand.
Bam.
Well said.
There we go.
I want to see why you got her.
Yeah. She's a good helper.
She's amazing.
She is
I
amazing.
know.
Yeah, community, we need to rise up and help Voices of Grief in this space. This takes cash. I mean, come on now.
Yes.
Foundation for a lot of these outcomes that we're seeing in the mental health community is the grief that's happening underneath in people's lives.
Yeah.
So we need to step to the fore together as a community and support this organization and let it rise to those places that you were talking about, right?
We are a 5-figure budget right now. We would like to be a 6-figure budget because that could allow us to offer more things.
Absolutely.
That is a very concrete ask I can say, is if the
Absolutely.
community can help us. And Colorado Gives Day is tomorrow.
Yeah, tell us about that.
Yeah.
Isn't that your cue?
That's my cue to say, please look for our invitation for Colorado Gives. As Sarah said and Frank so well echoed, we are kind of a little bit of a secret in this town.
Yep.
Yes.
And there are a lot of larger organizations that actually do turn to us for their grief support. People that are really getting a lot of funding from other sources and then will turn to us to help do some of their work. So help us not be a secret. We don't want to be a secret anymore. We really need a high level of support and understanding. Some people who have a heart for grief, who might want to either volunteer for us or become a board member or adopt us in their foundation giving.
Indeed.
I want to say, and I can be quick, grief is not sexy. We talk about that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, suicide loss is well funded. Rightly so.
Yep.
Substance use struggles is well funded. Rightly so. Mental health is well funded. But Colorado is not doing great on mental health support. Okay? And we exist in this space where we touch all of that. And what we can do is offer super critical care for a low cost because of our model. But how do we expand that to serve more people?
Well,
That's
people
the
start
ask.
to understand that all those things that you just mentioned that are well funded could really be impacted positively if you were funded better.
Yes.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Thank you.
they could just
Yes.
get that, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Grief is at the foundation of many of those outcomes.
And it's at the foundation driving some of the mental health need and driving some of the substance use, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So many people are using substances because they have not addressed their grief.
Yeah, we have things in mind, don't we, Lisa?
Yes, we do.
We have people to connect you with because we believe in your mission.
Yes.
What else you have to ask them?
All right.
Okay.
So, Kathy.
Quickly.
I'm going to start with you.
Quickly.
So our listeners love that our whole mission is to infuse hope and encouragement to the
Yes.
world. So I would like you to look at that camera and do just that. Encourage the world and then let them know how to reach you.
Oh, we have our arms open to receive you. Come be with us. You can look for our website and each of our phone numbers on Frank's site, so you will know all of that. And what else did you want me to say?
That was
That's it.
That was
Okay, I did
powerful.
good. So, I'll say too, is it okay now to talk about?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, one of the things that you can really have the experience of who we really are is coming up this Saturday, and it's our holiday event that we've set up with such tender love and care because we know this is a tender time in the holidays for any significant kind of loss you've gone through. So part of what we're going to have available is we're going to have refreshments, we're going to have music, and we're going to give you the chance to hear some other grievers give you ideas of how to walk in our grief during this so-called happy time when we feel some sadness. We're going to do a small, very dear way to let you decorate a luminaria and light your candle, and we're going to have a time in that moment to say the name of your loving people that you're missing.
Amen.
So please
Yes.
come this Saturday from 10 to 12. Come at 9:30 because we want you to get there early to get all situated.
Where?
And it's going to be at
Siva
this.
Charter High School. Yeah.
Say it again.
Siva is a
Siva.
charter high school
Okay.
off
Remember
near
where we were
Garden
at
of the
Step
Gods
the other
and
day?
Yes.
I-25.
It's right there on North Park.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
All right. Now it's your turn,
Okay,
Mrs.
same
Sarah Lee. With
So
yes.
information on all of this is on our website, which is voicesofgriefcenter.org. You can email us at info@voicesofgriefcenter.org. And the word of encouragement I want to say is hope really is my key word in grief work, right? There is hope for a future that has meaning and joy and a sense of fullness again. But what that takes is that we do our work, and our work is done in community and in honest mourning. We spend time acknowledging our losses, processing our pain, finding strength from people around us, and all of that is going to truly give us momentum for our journey forward.
Indeed.
Thank you.
Kathy Sparnins and Sarah Lee from Voices of Grief have been with us on show number 1 of the Be Encouraged show with Frank and Lisa. We're so thankful that you would join us for this wonderful outpouring of hearts and love today. We'll be back with show number 2 shortly. Hello, I'm Frank, and this is
Lisa.
We want to welcome you to the Be Encouraged show, where each week we reach an audience of 45,000 potential listeners
And growing.
across our social platforms and guest networks. Our mission is simple yet profound: to spread hope and encouragement, connecting our audience with stories that uplift and inspire.
So, whether you're a business owner looking to expand your reach or someone eager to share your journey of impact, our platform is designed to highlight the positive differences we can all make.
Getting involved with our show is easy and rewarding. First, you get to be a guest on this show. This is a fantastic opportunity for brand recognition as you share your story with our engaged listeners.
And Frank and I are now offering Q&A mastermind monthly sessions. And these are not just informative experiences, but we actually help with your business on strategic insights and provide a supportive group setting.
Oh, yes, we do, don't we? And if you're looking to drive targeted lead generation, consider sponsoring our show. We offer multiple tiers and customizable options to fit your marketing needs perfectly.
We have had over 350 guests, and they have been able to brand themselves and share all the goodness that they are doing here in community.
And it's not just about numbers. Our approach opens up a space for vulnerability, helping our guests genuinely connect with audiences. This authentic interaction is a powerful catalyst for community and business growth. Take, for example, we have partners here at Be Encouraged, and since getting involved with our platform, they've seen a staggering 900% growth in just 7 months here in the Springs.
So if you're ready to make a significant impact, join us today at beencouraged.net.
And let's make Encouraged a more hopeful and connected place, one story at a time.
From my dad's 40-year grind as an immigrant mechanic to personal traumas such as my mom's suicide attempts, I know life's hurdles. That's why Crescio's mission is to empower the underprivileged right here in Colorado Springs. Are you struggling with sales? We'll help with leads and conversions. Or are you overwhelmed? We'll help with automating your tasks and optimizing your business for staffing. Are you ready to transform? Scan today to start.
Hello, I'm Frank, and this is
Lisa.
We want to welcome you to the Be Encouraged show, where each week we reach an audience of 45,000 potential listeners
And growing.
across our social platforms and guest networks. Our mission is simple yet profound: to spread hope and encouragement, connecting our audience with stories that uplift and inspire.
So, whether you're a business owner looking to expand your reach or someone eager to share your journey of impact, our platform is designed to highlight the positive differences we can all make.
Getting involved with our show is easy and rewarding. First, you get to be a guest on the show. This is a fantastic opportunity for brand recognition as you share your story with our engaged listeners.
And Frank and I are now offering Q&A Mastermind monthly sessions. And these are not just informative experiences, but we actually help with your business on strategic insights and provide a supportive group setting.
Oh, yes, we do, don't we? And if you're looking to drive targeted lead generation, consider sponsoring our show. We offer multiple tiers and customizable options to fit your marketing needs perfectly.
We have had over 350 guests, and they have been able to brand themselves and share all the goodness that they are doing here in community.
And it's not just about numbers. Our approach opens up a space for vulnerability, helping our guests genuinely connect with audiences. This authentic interaction is a powerful catalyst for community and business growth. Take, for example, we have partners here at Be Encouraged, and since getting involved with our platform, they've seen a staggering 900% growth in just 7 months here in the Springs.
So if you're ready to make a significant impact, join us today at beencouraged.net.
And let's make Encouraged a more hopeful and connected place, one story at a time.
From my dad's 40-year grind as an immigrant mechanic to personal traumas such as my mom's suicide attempts, I know life's hurdles. That's why Crescio's mission is to empower the underprivileged right here in Colorado Springs. Are you struggling with sales? We'll help with leads and conversions. Or are you overwhelmed? We'll help with automating your tasks and optimizing your business for staffing. Are you ready to transform? Scan today to start.
Hello, I'm Frank, and this is
Lisa.
We want to welcome you to the Be Encouraged Show, where each week we reach an audience of 45,000 potential listeners
And growing.
across our social platforms and guest networks. Our mission is simple yet profound: to spread hope and encouragement, connecting our audience with stories that uplift and inspire.
So, whether you're a business owner looking to expand your reach or someone eager to share your journey of impact, our platform is designed to highlight the positive differences we can all make.
Getting involved with our show is easy and rewarding. First, you get to be a guest on this show. This is a fantastic opportunity for brand recognition as you share your story with our engaged listeners.
And Frank and I are now offering Q&A mastermind monthly sessions. And these are not just informative experiences, but we actually help with your business on strategic insights and provide a supportive group setting.
Oh, yes, we do, don't we? And if you're looking to drive targeted lead generation, consider sponsoring our show. We offer multiple tiers and customizable options to fit your marketing needs perfectly.
We have had over 350 guests, and they have been able to brand themselves and share all the goodness that they are doing here in community.
And it's not just about numbers. Our approach opens up a space for vulnerability, helping our guests genuinely connect with audiences. This authentic interaction is a powerful catalyst for community and business growth. Take, for example, we have partners here at Be Encouraged, and since getting involved with our platform, they've seen a staggering 900% growth in just 7 months here in the Springs.
So if you're ready to make a significant impact, join us today at beencouraged.net.
And let's make the world a more hopeful and connected place, one story at a time.
From my dad's 40-year grind as an immigrant mechanic to personal traumas such as my mom's suicide attempts, I know life's hurdles. That's why Crescio's mission is to empower the underprivileged right here in Colorado Springs. Are you struggling with sales? We'll help with leads and conversions. Or are you overwhelmed? We'll help with automating your tasks and optimizing your business for staffing. Are you ready to transform? Scan today to start.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Be Encouraged show with Frank.
And Lisa.
We are so incredibly glad to have you this afternoon, man. We got snow coming down like a big dog.
Yes,
right?
I told you we're in a snow globe. He was teasing me earlier, literally.
Yeah, it's definitely coming down out there.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine myself in a globe.
You are today, bud.
I am today. Right. Yeah, thank you so much to our platinum sponsor, Crescio, for this show. When you get paid what you can, consultation with them, you can learn how to penetrate the noisy market with brand recognition strategies. Visit Crescio.com to learn more and check out the flyer that we have prepared for you today, man. Right?
Yeah.
About Crescio, and it's really, really cool.
Awesome.
Lisa, introduce this young man.
Yes, so Nate, right?
Derek.
Oh, no, you're Derek. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. One of our guests got snowed in away
Yes.
from us and can't come, so that was Nate. Okay, Derrek Villagrana.
Yes, ma'am.
He is a player for the Recovery Rebels.
Wait a minute, time out. I'm glad you said for the Recovery Rebels.
Yes.
So you were a player before, right?
Yeah, yeah. No comment.
Oh my God.
No comment.
Are you married?
Yeah, I'm actually
Okay.
engaged.
Oh.
We're getting married on July 12th.
Oh, she put a ring on you
Yes,
already.
yes,
She
yes,
says put
yes.
a ring on it ahead
Reel
of
this
time.
homeboy in.
Yes,
That's what I'm
yes.
talking about.
Yes.
That's
She's the
funny.
best thing that's ever happened to me. So,
Aw.
yes.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
we're
can't
getting
wait.
married July 12th and looking forward to it.
What's the
We're-
name?
Lexi.
Hi, Lexi.
Lexi.
She's watching, yes.
Okay, so Derek celebrates over 2 years of sobriety and uses softball as a way to build community and support for others in recovery. Inspired by the guidance of founder Rob Decker.
Decker.
Love you, Rob.
Yeah,
I
Rob.
hope you're watching.
The man.
He helps create a safe, judgment-free space for people navigating mental health and addiction challenges.
Correct.
That's incredible.
Yes.
Welcome, Derek.
Thank you for having
Yes.
me. It's a
Man, we're
pleasure
so
to be on
glad
here.
to have you here.
Yeah, we
Yes.
we met him at the Hilton, right?
Yep.
No, yeah, Antlers.
Yeah, Antlers.
Yeah, we were
Antlers.
at Antlers.
Yeah,
And we
yeah.
were doing our hug campaign.
You're right, right.
And then Rob came up
Yeah,
to give
yeah,
us
yeah.
our hug, and then we met this incredible gentleman here.
Yes,
So-
that was awesome. Rob had the idea of going there, and he was like, "Hey, let's just try to market and network with people,
Yeah.
you know, because we're
Yeah.
trying to get the name Rise as Lions and Recovery Rebels out there, and what we do and how we help people and stuff." And that was a perfect spot to go, and
Yeah.
I was blessed to meet you guys. And
Yeah,
we
likewise.
talked about me coming on, and I'm very grateful to be here. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So
Yeah, we're glad to have
yes,
you, my
definitely,
friend.
Yes, Derek.
definitely.
Yes. So, Derek, I think it kind of goes without saying that you have a history.
Yes. To put it very lightly,
Put it
yes.
very lightly.
Yes.
Why don't you share with our audience your story, my friend?
Okay, so let's see. It started back, I've always been a type to where I socially drank and stuff like that, and I dabbled with, some narcotics here and there. And then what happened was my son passed away about 7 years ago, and he was 3 weeks old. His name is Micah, and he had a couple different things wrong with him, and pretty much losing my son like that. And before that, I was in a very bad car accident, and I got a pretty big settlement from the car accident, and I got that settlement money 2 days before my son passed away. So I got the money. 2 days later, he died, and I just went on a spiral.
Oh,
Right,
a perfect storm.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
Yeah, so over the 7 years of doing that, I was married at the time to my ex-wife, and we were both very similar, right? So we, both used all the time and kind of used that as our coping mechanism with, losing our son. And obviously that's not the right thing to do. And, it just came to a point where I just couldn't handle it no more. And my oldest son, he's 14 now, Gabriel, love you, Gabe.
Gabe.
He lost his mom to addiction. She was
Oh, my.
32 years old when she had cirrhosis of the liver, and she passed away. And so
Was that your ex-wife?
no, that was it's my son's mom. So it was a
Okay.
different relationship.
Okay.
But yeah, so I divorced my ex-wife, and right around that time, we separated. Is when she passed, is when my son's mom passed away, and so you know, my ex-wife moved off to Arizona and, you know, started her life out there. And, you know, a couple weeks later, my son's mom passed away. And so yeah, it was a pretty strenuous month and a half for me. And, you know, I really was at rock bottom. And, you know, my family were, you know, not there to support. They didn't want to support my habits or anything like that. And so I was by myself, and I came to the realization where I needed to get help. You know, seeing my son's mom in a casket and, you know, seeing my son react to seeing her in a casket changed my life forever. You know, and so what's crazy is that how I met Rob and how I got connected with Rises Lions is
Before we go there,
Yeah.
because I'm digging a little bit deeper.
yeah.
Because she's all emotional. I'm
Yeah.
telling you what a story, brother.
Yeah.
Right, of what you've gone through.
Yes.
Tell me, where are you from? Tell me about the upbringing.
So originally I'm from California, Whittier,
Where in
California.
California?
Yeah, Whittier, Southern California.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm northern.
Oh, okay.
A little better
Yeah.
than southern. I'm
Where's
just
my wife
saying.
from?
Slow. That's
Is that
southern.
northern,
Southern.
southern?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So I, you know, I
There's
grew-
very few people from northern.
Yeah. So I was born out in California, moved out here when I was about 6. Started school out here. My dad was, you know, he grew up in Southeast LA, and it's a pretty rough area.
Yeah.
So, you know, 20 minutes outside Compton. So he wanted to move and get me away from the lifestyle that he was living and move out here. My grandfather was born in Florence, Colorado.
Oh,
Yeah. My uncle is actually the mayor of Florence. He
Really?
was, yeah, Paul Villagrana, yeah. Yeah, so, you know, it's a small town, so my grandfather decided to join the Navy, got shipped out to, you know, California, started a family out there, and he wanted to come back. So this is the time Colorado Springs was booming,
Yeah.
you know, it was new, so they sold their house out there, bought a house big enough to house my aunt, my uncle, and my dad's family, you know what I mean? So we all lived in the house, and then we all just kind of went off on our own. And then I grew up here, pretty much born and raised. You know, I went to school, all District 11, so Keller, Russell, Doherty High School.
my kids went to
Yeah.
Doherty.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
What
how old
year
are
did-
you?
I graduated in 07, so I turned 36 in a month.
Yeah, my daughter's
He's a baby.
37.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Cool, so we were probably there
37,
at the same
time.
39,
You may know her.
42. Yeah, Brianna Sinclair.
Maybe if I saw her.
Yeah.
Maybe if I saw her. Yeah, I graduated in 2007. But yeah, so I had a great life. You know, both my parents were there. You know, they supported me as best as they could. You know, like I said, nobody's perfect.
Right,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
So I had a pretty decent upbringing, and you know, but I do have a family of alcoholics in my family, and you know, addicts and stuff like that. So it was always there. You know what I mean? And like I said, I kind of just drank socially, and then it just became an issue when I had, you know, gone through what I went through. You know, and you know, as addicts, we use that as the substance to numb or to mask what the root issue is, right? And so when I decided to make a change, you know, I found a rehab up in Denver, and I went to a 30-day inpatient treatment program, and you know, while I was in there,
It wasn't STEP, was it?
what's that?
Step Denver.
Was it
No.
STEP?
It was called Stages.
You're welcome, Step Denver.
Yeah.
Denver.
Little shout out there. Yeah, it was called Stages. It's called Community Reach Centers, the bigger company, and then Stages is the actual live-in rehab.
Okay.
And you know, I had 3 meals a day there. I slept there. I did all that stuff, and I tell you what, that was what changed. Stages saved my life. You know, and
What was the impetus for you even reaching out to anything like that? Even doing rehab?
you know, it was to a point where I couldn't take it anymore, Frank. You know what I mean? I was at rock bottom. You know, I was about to lose everything. I didn't have anything left to live for. And so, like I said, I knew I needed to be there for my children. And so I had to make a change. You know what I mean? I had to make a change. My parents had tried to get me to go to rehab before and detox and all that stuff, and it didn't stick. You know, that's the one thing I try to preach to everybody. You know, I get tagged in all these different things of people looking for help because I'm a certified recovery coach to the state. You know, I have my CCAR license. I'm one step away from getting my CPFS. You know, I work at New Visions Recovery Solutions, so I mentor troubled youth, which we'll touch on that later on. I would love to. But, you know, the root issue is, you know, you got to find that root issue and fix that. It's not necessarily the substance that we're, you know, fixing. It's the trauma that you deal with, right? That root issue.
That past trauma.
My peer coach that I up at Stages, he put it to me perfectly. It opened up my eyes. You know, it's like you have a cut, right? And you're just masking it with Band-Aid and gauze and antibiotic ointment, but you're still bleeding and starting to get infected and stuff.
Yeah.
You got to treat that cut before before it gets healed up, or you can fix anything,
Well
right?
said,
So
Derek.
yeah, so that's what it is. And the Band-Aid was the alcohol and the drugs, and I needed to stop doing that, so I just fixed the root issue. And like I said, every day is a battle. Once an addict, always an addict in my mind. But it's how you strengthen your thought process and your ability to take a step back and react before you do stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's the way that's the best way to put it. And Rob is a lifesaver. I wouldn't be here without him. It's a funny story. I got to tell you this. When we were probably about 2 or 3 months before I got clean, I was playing co-ed softball on a Friday night, and it was Rob's first ever Recovery Rebels team. It was a co-ed team, and we were playing against them.
Oh,
And
wonderful.
yeah, so Rob had seen me somewhere on Facebook. We became friends, whatever. And I used to always see this guy. He'd post every single day.
Yes.
Love it about his,
Uh-huh.
Working out and
That's
CrossFit
right.
and stuff. So
Crushing it.
yes, so I'm playing first base. He hits a home run. And as he's rounding around first base, I'm like, yeah, it's because all that CrossFit you do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That contributes to that. And he started laughing. We didn't really know each other.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then he gets on base, and he's on first base, and I'm playing first base. So we're probably about 40 feet away from each other. And he said he could smell the alcohol on my, because I was in that real
Yeah.
dark place. And
Yeah.
so anyway, when I made the post on Facebook that I was going out to find help, to go on, go to rehab, get help, all that stuff, he was the first person to reach out to me right away.
Wonderful.
He sent me this long message like, "Hey man, I see you're getting help. That's so awesome." He goes, "You are gonna change a ton of lives when you get out, and when you get out, me and you're gonna
I
connect."
can see Rob
Yes,
moving.
speaking into you ahead of
Speaking
time.
it into existence.
Yes.
That he is the king of speaking
I
things
love
into
that
existence,
about him. Yeah.
And like I said, I was so I didn't know what I was doing with my life. I didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't know if I was going to stay at rehab.
Yeah.
All this stuff, but I just, I kept praying. I kept, just sticking to the plan, and Rob was there the whole way, and he has been the whole way,
So tell me this. When you were in the thick of getting in recovery and all that for that, what was it, 32 days?
It was 30 days.
30
yeah, I did a
days.
30-day inpatient.
So when
yeah.
you were doing that, did you hear his words?
What's crazy is that we weren't allowed to have our phones there. And so they took everything away from us. They gave us a computer. We could have social media and stuff. But I also tried to limit that because that's also could be a huge distraction.
Yes.
But Rob called me on the day before I left, and he left me a voicemail, and he prayed for me. And all I heard was that, it factored in with all these other things. But yes, that was a huge, thing, was having him giving me that encouragement. And so I heard that, hey, and at the time I'm like, this is some random dude I don't know that's telling me you're gonna get out and change
got
all these
this.
people's lives, and you got this.
Yes.
He goes, something spoke out to me to tell you, to connect with you, because just to give you background, I've been playing slow pitch softball for so long, right? My father just got inducted into the Colorado Softball Hall of Fame 2 years ago. So yeah, he's very, very good. So I've been seeing him. I've been around the game for years. I've been playing it for years. And so I hate to say this, but I developed kind of this persona of me, right?
Yeah.
I was the guy to go to if you needed anything. I was the the one always down to have a beer. Always drinking at the field. So to go from that extreme to where I'm at now, where I'm essentially I like to be considered the face of Recovery Rebels, if you will. There's so many moving parts to it, but coming on and doing these things to promote it, it's amazing that I made that transition from literally over here to over here, and now
Did Christ have anything to do with this?
What's that?
journey? Did Christ have
Oh,
anything?
everything to do with it. Everything. I'll be completely transparent with you. After losing my son, I battled with my belief in my faith, and
How old was Micah when?
he was 3 weeks old. Yeah, he was a baby. Yeah, he was born 32 weeks old. He was born at 32 weeks. He had esophageal atresia, which means his esophagus didn't connect to his stomach. So he had a vertebrae gap. And then he had tetralogy of flow, which means his heart was backwards. So basically there was some stuff wrong with them, and he also only had a 2-vessel umbilical cord. So what happened was, when we went for the ultrasound and stuff, her stomach and her was growing, but he wasn't, because he wasn't swallowing the fluid and doing all
Yeah.
that stuff. So then they realized that, so he had a bunch of medical problems with him, and he passed away at the Children's Hospital up in Aurora. So it was before this one was built down here, right? So we were having to commute back and forth. On
That's
top of that, I
hard.
had other boys that we had to take care of, so it was very strenuous doing that.
How
you know
many
what I mean?
kids do you have now?
So, well, 4 total. So I have 2 from my side, and then my fiance Lexi has 2 beautiful girls, twins, Harper and Hazley. They're 7. So
Aw.
we call ourselves the Brady Bunch. So I
Yeah.
brought the boys, and she brought the girls.
Yes.
Here's
That's
what Brady
nice.
was. My daughter that was at school when you were at
Uh-huh.
Doherty, they have 8 blended.
Yeah.
Yep. That's exactly what Lexi calls it. We're a blended family.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
so
yeah.
that's wild.
Yeah. Their coffee company is called Blended Coffee
That's
Company.
awesome. Perfect name for that. That's awesome. But yeah, so that's so yeah, he was 3 weeks old when he passed, and but like I said, we have a blended family now, and we're getting married in July.
How'd you meet Lexi?
It's crazy, man. We went to the same elementary, middle, and high school together.
Really?
Just 2 years apart. So I was 07, she was 09. So we actually knew each other
So
in
you
high
were
school.
a baby.
She was.
She
Yeah.
was a baby.
Oh,
yeah,
she was the-
She
oh,
was the
okay.
younger one. Yeah. So what's crazy is that we used to hang out and stuff like parties and stuff in high school, and then I didn't see her for like 13 years, I believe. Yeah. And then right when I got out of rehab, this is crazy. Right when I got out of rehab, softball was a big trigger to me, right? So I didn't know if I was going to go back to playing
Yeah.
or if I was going to find another outlet, but my passion for the game is just it will never die.
Yeah,
So
it's in your blood.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
So I had to, like figure out and challenge myself. That was part of the recovery process, to challenge
Yeah.
yourself in being in uncomfortable spots,
Yeah.
right? It's being
right.
comfortable, being uncomfortable,
Yes.
right? So I, decided to go out to the fields, and it was my second tournament at Skyview Sports Complex, and one of her best friends is out there with her, watching her husband, and Lexi was there with her, just happened to be there for the weekend, watching this game. So I walk up and I'm like, "Hey, Teresa, what's going on?" And she's like, "Hey, Derek, you remember Lexi from high school?" And I was like, "Hey, what's up?" So we started
Yeah.
talking, and we exchanged numbers, and we hung out that night, and we've been together ever since.
Aw.
So I've known her for a long
So
time.
cute.
But yeah, I mean, she's the best thing that's ever happened to me.
That's awesome.
She saved me, and she caught me right when I was the most vulnerable and didn't know what I was going to do with my life, didn't know anything, you know what I mean? And so she's helped me, guide me to where I'm at now, and and I can't wait to marry her and spend the rest of my life with her, you know what I mean?
So tell us the story of your tattoos.
It's I've always liked tattoos, but I was always just wrapped up in the drugs and the alcohol. Like I said, my world was so skewed for so long. So I had tunnel vision, and I've done more in the 2.5 years that I've been clean and sober than I have my entire life, pretty
Yeah.
much.
Well,
You know
God
what I
works
mean?
that way.
Exactly. And so and I always made I was like fascinated by tattoos, and I guess you could kind of say I'm trading one addiction for another.
I asked Rob that very same question. When I had Rob on the show, I was going, one of the things that I see, because Brianna, my kid that's 1 year older than you, she was a meth addict.
Okay.
Yeah, when she was at Doherty, actually, from
Really?
16 to 22.
Wow.
Yeah, she was a meth addict. And I said, Rob, man, I see you pumping. I see all these things. Is the addict's mind into changing one addiction for another? Can this exercise stuff become an addiction? He said, sure, it can.
Of course it
And
can.
it does for most of us,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And et cetera. Remember I was preaching at a church just a couple of weeks ago. She was there.
Yes.
And it was like, and I said, we were born addicts.
Yep.
Yeah.
We were designed for addiction.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what God created us for. It's
Right.
just that we get addicted to the wrong thing.
To the
Right.
wrong
Right.
things, right.
And to,
Right.
yeah. So
It's funny. There was a post on one of these pages on Facebook that I follow, and somebody commented it was a mother that was, experiencing the parental side of the addiction. So her son was an addict, and
Yeah.
she made a post in that page that he was missing and all this stuff, and oh, it's my fault. It was how I raised him and stuff. I tried to raise him good, but he still ended up doing it. And I commented on it, and I said, you know, it had nothing to do with you. You know, you did what you could do. He chose that.
Yeah, it was his decision.
Yes, and you know, and that's exactly how I feel. My parents tried to do everything they could to
Yeah.
prevent
You
me
do
from
what
being
you
an addict. You
do
obviously
best,
don't want to
yeah.
have your children become an addict,
Right.
but you know, it's up to them. Just like with my kids, they've seen me. They were old enough to see my addiction.
Yeah.
And now they see how I am now and how I help people and how I work with kids. You know, I mentor troubled youth that have addiction issues and stuff. And, you know, they see it as, you know, dad's gone from one extreme to the other. And now I like this way more than I like him.
Oh,
you know what I
yeah.
mean? And it's like they know, like my son is like, I will never drink,
Yeah.
you know?
Mm.
And so I guess I kind of count that as a W, but,
Yeah.
you know, a win's a win. But,
You know why?
you know,
Goes with W.
and it's like, if I had to go through what I had to go through to show him
Amen.
to not do that, then I'd do it over and over and over again to save my kids. You know,
Right.
ultimately, he's gonna make that choice to either drink or not, or
Okay.
either do this or not. But you know, I have faith. He's a very smart kid, and both of my boys are very smart, and they say the same exact thing. I'm never gonna do that.
That's
You know?
incredible. I mean, our son, I'm a blended family as well.
Nice.
So I have a bonus son.
Yeah.
I have 3 daughters I birthed, but I
Gotcha.
have this bonus son. It's really fun. It's totally different having a boy. But he's currently pulling himself out of Palmer Ridge because of all the peer pressure of vaping, drugs, parties, all the things. And he is not wanting to be associated with that. So he is saying, nope, I'm going to do
He
that
has the
online
ability
schooling.
to think like that, to take a
Yes.
step back and say, I don't want to put myself in that situation.
Yeah.
That's
Just
so
like now.
Incredible.
It
Yeah.
is incredible. He's 14.
That's huge.
Yeah.
Freshman,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
he was really looking forward to going into high school with all his best friends.
Of course.
And you know, one of his buddies succumbed to vaping, and it was like he said, "No, I will not."
That's good.
And it's, you know, but not all teenagers do that.
And see,
Most don't do that.
Most don't do
Yeah.
that.
Well, you have
The
to
front
continue
lobe
to
will bring-
affirm
Well,
that.
and you also had that's even more impressive when you put it in perspective with how much influence social media has.
Yep.
Yes.
Oh,
And
yeah.
you know, I think
Yeah.
that's the worst thing ever for
Mhm.
kids.
I do
is
too.
social
I'm
media,
so glad
you know?
it wasn't there when I was
Yeah.
a teenager.
Yeah.
I can only imagine how I would have ended up if there was social media.
Right. I would have. I would have been in trouble.
I you know, it's just that's amazing that he has that whereabouts already.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
it's a
that
reflection
is
of you
insane.
and your husband and how you guys are raising him, because he knows right from wrong.
Yeah.
You know, I knew right from wrong. I just still chose to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I at that age I didn't have nothing to worry. I tell everybody all the time, I didn't start getting into legal trouble. I didn't start messing up until I was after 18, so I was an adult. I didn't have that preteen year
Oh,
that
you
know
didn't?
that stuff. I was a good kid in high school. I did everything by the book. You know, I was on the baseball team. I got
Yeah.
decent grades. You know, I always showed up to school. I never really skipped because my dad was always the one on the attendance thing. I'd get a text in my class that I was late for. Why were you late to that class? You know, he was on me like that. You know what I mean? So I had that in the back of my mind. You know, like senior skip day,
Yeah.
I was at school.
Oh
you know?
my gosh.
I went to every single class. So
So what was it then that shifted you as a young adult in your prime? What happened?
I don't really, you know, I think about that all the time, and you know, I really think that it was just lack of care, you know, carelessness. I mean, I didn't really have any kind of structure from my parents at that age. You know what I mean? Like, as a young adult, you know, I never really was taught finances or anything like that.
Yeah,
So like
us
all that
either.
kind of stuff, you know, I was literally just like, hey, just here you go, you know. And so they tried to set
Good
me up as
luck.
best as they could, but you know, I guess I just I really liked it. You know, I liked going out and having fun with my friends, and you know, I didn't care about if I got fired from a job because I could go get another one. You know, I was always
Right.
I had that personality. You
Yeah.
know what I mean, where I could talk to anybody, I could make connections with anybody, I could
Yeah.
do that. Now I'm using that for good.
Yes.
You know what I mean,
Right,
and
Love that.
and influencing other people, and you know, helping them get up out of their rut. You know what I mean?
Yeah, indeed.
Mm-hmm.
Man, we're talking with Derrek Villagrana today about his journey through substance abuse,
Mm-hmm.
all the things that he's been through. He's a player for Recovery Rebels, Rob Decker's team. Tell us about Recovery Rebels. What? you know,
Yeah,
I
the world
said-
needs to hear about that.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
that I tell you what, Recovery Rebels is one of the best things that's ever happened to me. You know, so like I said, I had a pretty tumultuous background in slow pitch softball around here, made a pretty bad name for myself, and when I got out, Rob was like, "You're coming
You
to
say
play."
you made a bad name for yourself. What does that mean?
I mean, I was always, intoxicated at the fields. I was always loud, obnoxious, like just not, I sometimes I would miss playing on, I'd commit to a tournament team, commit to a team to play that weekend, and I'd go out and get all tore up on Friday night and not make it.
You're
It was
sloppy.
Yes, very sloppy.
Yeah.
And which is crazy because my dad was held to such high of a standard. So he's way up here and I was down here.
Did you ever resent that?
You know what? I get asked that quite a bit, and to be honest with you, I will never be able to fill his shoes because he was that good of a player and he was that good of a person. You don't walk around that softball field and ask people if they, everybody will have the same opinion about my father. He's awesome. He's a great player. He's a great human. You know what I mean? So
Is he still alive?
Oh yeah, he still plays.
Where's he at?
Yeah, he's here in Springs.
Aw.
Yeah, he still plays. We still
Are
play
you
together.
close?
Yeah, we have our differences, but yeah, we're close. I mean, we
Yeah.
always have softball in common. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's one thing that I always grew up watching him play. And so, like I said, when I turned 18, I started playing myself, and I played at a pretty high level. And now I'm at the point now where I'm focused on Recovery Rebels, and I also play.
Is it slow pitch or?
Yes, it's slow pitch. Yeah, so
My
we
dad,
play at
my
Cottonwood.
dad was, it's funny because you remember those Me Too moments.
Yeah.
My dad was revered like your dad, and and where I was in softball,
Oh,
where fast
really?
pitch softball.
Yeah.
Fast pitch.
never knew
Oh,
that.
yeah, he was like.
Big shot, huh?
Oh yeah. Yeah, he didn't have those character traits your dad had, but he he just parlayed those into the women. And
Yeah, he was a womanizer and all the things.
Yeah, I love my dad, and I don't want to sound like I'm dishonoring him. I'm just telling the story,
But it's
right?
facts.
It's the truth.
Yeah,
It's a fact.
just telling the story. That's all.
But yeah.
he did what he knew.
But the Recovery Rebels is awesome, man. So when I started on the team, there was just a men's team and a co-ed team. Rob started the co-ed team first, right? And then he had enough guys and made a men's team, and they weren't, it was mainly to just get out there and have fun and all this stuff. And then, not to toot my own horn or anything, but once I came onto the team, I brought some other players that I knew that were in recovery too.
Nice.
And we just kind of upped the level, up the playing
Oh,
field, because we have to, at the end of the day, we're trying to look for sponsors. We're trying to, if people want to support a winning team. You know what I mean?
Never apologize for being awesome.
Yeah, and we win a lot. We win a lot. We win a lot.
Well,
we
I
have
get
a
it.
lot of rings. We have a lot of titles. We do very well. Yeah, and I take pride in that. And so at my role with the Recovery Rebels, I'm the director of softball operations, right? So what I do is I make sure that we're going to be signed up for every single event. So we have a co-ed team, which is basically based around supporters of mental health and recovery, right? So you don't necessarily have to be in recovery yourself, but you support the cause.
Yeah.
You can come out and play. The only thing we ask is that you don't drink while we're playing, right? And so then we have a veterans team, which is dedicated, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Dedicated to the veterans, active duty, retired, whatever.
We're both prior presidents of VetNet, which
Oh,
is a
nice.
networking.
Yeah. So Rob created that, and we, it's been a blessing. John De La Cruz, shout out to John. He runs that team, and they're great. They create that space for people that only can, relate to each other when it comes to like PTSD or anything military related. They have that.
It's a thing.
They have that safe space.
Are they
And then-
winners?
oh yeah, they're good too.
Co-ed winners?
Co-ed are winners too. We're all winners. Man.
Well,
We breed winners
I
over
mean,
here.
I was an Air Force wife for 10 years,
Yeah.
and my husband at the time, he was definitely a baseball guy.
Yeah.
But there's a tight-knit
Yep.
community in the
I
military.
played when I was in the Air Force.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it is.
awesome.
Like,
Yeah.
they know how to play.
Yeah, and like I said, we just wanted, like, being that Colorado is such a big military town.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? We wanted to create that safe space for people.
That's good.
The main reason why Rob wanted to create the Recovery Rebels is because there's a team out there called the Guzzlers, and they glorify drinking, right? That's have to be a part of. In order to be a part of the team, you have to drink. You have to,
Oh, wow.
you always have to have your coin on you, and if you don't have your coin, you get checked. You have to buy a round of alcohol or beer for everybody else on the team.
wow.
Yeah, it's wild. So
The Guzzlers.
yeah,
The
and
Guzzlers.
they're a nonprofit.
Are they good?
They are pretty good. Yeah.
It's just
Yeah, I'm not gonna
competitive.
lie. I'm not gonna lie. They're pretty good. But yeah, I have a bunch of friends on there, and they're all military. You know what I mean? So it's that's their safe space for people that are okay with doing that and want to do that. I'm not trying to discredit anything. Everybody has their own walk, right? And if they want to do that, it's totally fine. But we wanted to create a safe space for veterans that could go and congregate and have that safe space of, I don't want to use, I don't want to use it, I don't want to do that. I just want to be around my like-minded people.
Right.
So that's why we came up with the vets team, which is awesome. And then our men's team is, that's I love our men's team. I love all the teams equally, but my men's team has has a lot of.
So you don't love them equally.
No, I guess you're right. Yeah, you got me. Yes, the men's team is my baby. I love that team. You know what I mean? And it's just like a lot of people. They go to AA, they go to NA, and all stuff. And Rob, if you know Rob, he's completely vocal about this and open.
Yes, he is.
He doesn't mess with AA.
No, he doesn't.
You know what I mean? And
I
so
know.
we kind of wanted to create that environment, that type of environment where you can come out to the field and talk about your problems, and have that brotherhood and that camaraderie of people that are in the same walks, right? So that the requirement for the men's team is you do have to be in recovery. We're not just going to take people that it's basically built for that. But yeah, I mean, I love the Recovery Rebels. I love everything about it. And we partner with a couple key people. The Switchbacks to support us.
Good.
Yes.
Awesome.
So shout out to James at the Switchbacks. But yeah, it's been amazing, and it's grown so much in the last 2 years. We've reached so many people, and we try to get on the news. We've been on the news a few times.
I have a question for this.
Yeah.
Okay. 2025 is right around the corner.
Yes, ma'am.
What is you and Rob? What is your big, hairy, audacious goals for 25?
Our biggest goal is to host a recovery tournament, right? So
Okay.
we play league, and league and tournaments are two totally different things. So league is played during the week. You have like an 8-week schedule, and then you have like double headers on, like, say for example, the men's team plays on Sunday nights, right? So tournaments are held on the weekends, usually Saturday morning, sometimes into Sunday, right? But for the most part, it's on Saturdays. So we're trying to create a tournament where everybody there is, there for the cause. We're going to try to have the mayor come out and speak, and, he already said he would, and stuff, according to Rob, and, just basically get more people to recognize that there is a need for recovery-based activities out here, right? And it's not only just recovery. I mean, recovery is a ton of different things. It's different for everybody, right? But mental health, we want to run a mental health recovery-based tournament where we raise all this money and be able to give back to people and help people, create scholarships for people and stuff. So that is our biggest goal, to do that. And I think that we partner with Diversis, and
wonderful.
So we're blessed to be able to have that connection, and the people over there, they're great, and we're just hoping to just take off, and grow this. We're talking about taking it into different states. What I mean? Because the need for this is just so. Like when I tell people this, it's like they're like, "Dang, yeah, exactly." There's so many sick people out there that we want to help, and like I said, for me personally, like I was at the lowest of the low with nobody. You know what I mean? So I want to provide that light in people's darkness and give them hope, and say, hey, I want to go play for the Recovery Rebels, or I want to talk to Derek and Rob because they'll have connections to help me with what I need. You know what I mean? And eventually, my personal goal is I want to expand it not to just softball. I want to get a kickball team. I want to get a volleyball team. I want to get all that. Like, we're trying to blow up. And I think, we're really right on that cusp of partnering with some great people to help us get to that.
I believe you guys will get there.
And like I said, it's all from the heart, and it's just, I want to help as many people as I can. You know what I mean?
Okay, so real quick, would be remiss if we didn't talk about what Nate was going to talk about.
Oh, yeah.
So
perfect.
please, represent.
Yes, so what I do for work now, which Rob actually introduced me to Nate at the Mental Health Recovery Symposium last year. And me and Nate connected, and Nate is the owner of New Visions Recovery Solutions, which is a company that started in 2019 and mentor troubled youth. So basically we work directly with this company called Mission Possible, and we get a caseload, and we have mentors. So I'm a mentor, and there's like 6 other male mentors, and there's also female mentors, and we work directly with the youth. So what we do is these kids that get in trouble for whatever reason, it could be various different ways, whether they got suspended from school or possession or something like that, they get, court order appointed a mentor. And so that's when we come in, and we just take these kids and we take them out into the community, and, basically kind of alter the way that they're doing stuff already.
Do you guys work with them, with CASA?
With CASA?
Yeah. No?
No.
Okay.
No, CASA wasn't a part of.
All right.
Yeah, so
Yeah, CASA wasn't part of any recovery program.
No.
Unfortunately. So,
Yeah.
Nate's.
I was the chairman of the board of directors at CASA.
Okay.
Yeah. But that would be a good connection, right, Frank?
Yeah, it'd be a great connection. Yeah.
Yeah, he actually gave me some bullet points to
Oh,
you know,
good. Okay,
yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Yeah, so let's see. So yeah, it started in 2019. It was started as an activity-based program, right, to help youth who are struggling with substance and behavioral issues. Because that's a lot of what it is. I mean, I hate to say it, but a lot of my kids come from a single mom household. You know, mom worked 2 jobs.
Yeah.
You know, there's not a lot of tension, and older siblings and stuff like that. So, so it's basically what we're trying to do is try to engage them, right, to into some positive stuff.
Yeah.
Let's see, they use physical activities and other resources in the community to give youth and other clients positive outlets. The owner, Nate, also likes to emphasize how having an obsessive or addictive personality can be used for a good thing, like we talked about earlier.
Absolutely.
You know, with his clients under proper mentorship, therapy, and coaching. So New Vision is not only mentors, but we also have therapists too, licensed therapists.
Where are they at?
They're here in Springs.
Okay.
Yes, so we're located here in the Springs. Our office is over off of Cheyenne Mountain.
Yeah.
Cheyenne Mountain Boulevard and
Great.
stuff over there, kind of, you know, over going towards Fort Carson.
Nate founded that?
Yes, Nate founded it. Yeah.
Yeah. And how are you guys financed?
So we work directly with we accept all major accept most major insurance for the therapy and for the works that we do through Medicaid and life skills and sponsorship. So our main thing is Medicaid. So that's who
Medicaid.
Yep, that's who we partner with. Yep.
All right, and what's the ages of the people that you impact?
So anywhere they range from, I mean, as young as 8. There's been some clients that are 8 years old up to 18. So I have about
Tweens
6.
are a trip. You remember back then, right? I mean, when the hormones start kicking in, it was 8 years old on up.
Yep. So
It's in the milk.
Yeah. So I personally have a caseload of 6, and they range from ages 13 to 18.
13 to 18?
Yep.
How long are they with you?
It just depends. So for example, I had a kid since March, and I had court for him today, and he just got his case dismissed, and he's on probation and everything.
Oh,
So
cool.
it really just depends, and I'm still going to continue to work with them.
Right.
It's basically as needed, you know, whatever Medicaid thinks, because you know it's technically it's a diagnosis. You know what I mean? So whatever they say, then we work with that. You know what I mean? So
How many are there with you at this place?
so there are how many employees? So there's a total of about 15 to 16 employees. So it's kind of a smaller company, but man,
Are you all contractors or?
yes. So some of them are contractors, and some of them, like us, I'm a W-2 employee.
You're a W2
Yes,
employee?
yeah. So
Okay.
majority of us are W-2. There's maybe a handful of contractors.
Okay.
So there's female mentors that only can take out the female participants, and then there's male mentors that take out the male participants. So
Wow, I
Yeah.
didn't know. I thought I knew Nate. Evidently, I don't
So
know
Nate needs to get rescheduled to come on our show. Go
You
to
hear that, Nate?
beencouraged.net to get
Yeah.
rescheduled.
I had Nate on the show before you started with me.
Oh,
Rob and Nate, Dr. E from.
I was there.
You were there?
Yes,
Okay.
in down.
And our.
Yeah, Epicentral.
You were there?
Wait, was Nate? I can't visualize.
Yeah, Nate Wilson was on the show.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
With Rob.
No,
and-
we had Adam Vigil.
yes, Adam was on
Adam
there too.
was on it.
Yeah.
Was the 4? Oh, we had 4 of them. That's right. Okay, Nate.
Yep.
I'm so sorry, Nate. I forgot. He forgot I was there too, so don't feel bad.
Nate a buff dude too. Right?
Yes,
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
Yeah, his wife actually. They were just in Vegas. His wife actually just won a bunch of She set a bunch of powerlifting records and
Oh,
stuff.
did she really?
Yeah,
Aw.
she. No offense, Nate, but she's probably stronger than you.
Oh,
Yeah.
Well, we've had this year alone over 400 guests.
That's so,
So
awesome.
it's hard sometimes to say, wait, who's been on, who hasn't been on?
That's so awesome.
People are still waiting to get on. It's a thing. But
Yeah. Man, what great work you guys are doing. You
Yes.
know,
Trying to, man. You know.
you're not trying, you're doing it.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
You are
Like I said, I
doing
just
it.
try to stay as humble as I can, and I just want to, like I said, help as many kids. I mean, before I started working with the kids, I worked at a company called Community Works. and we helped
Is
with.
that the black guy?
Yeah, it's Joaquin.
Joaquin,
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so we
Wealthy.
yes, yeah.
yeah.
So we worked together over there, and I was a case manager. So basically, I helped people that were coming directly out of Department of Corrections. I'd help them find housing, jobs, employment, all that stuff. And
Were you ever in?
no, I never did.
Never did
Thank
time?
God. No, I did county time, but I never did Department of Corrections, big boy time. But I just,
Big boy time.
I thank God every day that I didn't get caught for the stuff that I was
Right.
doing.
Oh
You know
my
what I mean?
gosh.
Me
So,
too.
Yeah.
I was never like that.
Yeah.
Not
You
to get
lied.
arrested for.
You never did anything you could have got arrested
No.
for? Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I must have been doing it for you. I was trying to make up for your
I did
lack
enough
of-
for both of us. Trust me. But yeah, so I worked.
But I purposely never got a driver's license till I was 19 because I respected my weaknesses.
Oh.
So, yeah, I knew what was up with that. I had friends to take me everywhere.
Yeah.
So I was a dude. Nobody taking me nowhere.
Nope.
So I had to go get my thing. I had to do my thing myself, right?
You went into the Air Force really young, too.
I did 18.
Right out
Oh,
the
wow.
gate.
The Air Force.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, I spent 8 years there. Thank God for that, because no telling what I would have done
Oh,
Right.
yeah.
if I hadn't had that structure.
And my
stuff.
daughter
Yeah.
Esther, too, right out the gate.
Yeah.
That's what
She
I'm
went
trying
into the
to.
Air
I'm trying to.
Force.
Like, ultimately, my kids are gonna make their own decision. But I had a talk with my oldest son, my 14-year-old, the other day. Even my 12-year-old too. They're at that age where they got to start thinking about that.
That's
You know what I
right.
mean?
Exactly.
And so, they both. Elijah, my 12-year-old, wants to be a pilot.
That's awesome.
So
Yeah.
he has aspirations
Air
of
Force,
doing that.
baby.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And my other son, he
Let's
wants to go
go.
to the Air Force too. So,
Yeah.
I'm gonna do whatever I can to get him. I'm actually I have a buddy of mine that's a recruiter, so I'm gonna have him talk to a recruiter and, kind of get him
My
on that path.
grandson's at tech school right now.
Oh wow.
In the Air Force.
What's he doing? What's his MOS?
He's AFSC, Air Force. MOS is Army.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, that's right. That shows you how much I know. Yeah. It shows you how much I know.
Better get used
Yeah.
to this.
Yeah.
They're all like
You learn
competitive,
something new every day.
demonstrations.
We
Right,
love
you-
each other, but we are competitive.
You learn
Very
something new every
good.
day. Not bad.
Now, you should come to VetNet, though.
Okay.
And share.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we meet every Tuesday, 8:30 to 10 a.m.
Okay.
Yeah, we would love to have you.
Cool. Yeah. I'd love
Yeah,
to do that.
yeah.
I talked
Oh,
to
by
Rob.
the
We'll
way,
make it
he's a
work.
jet mechanic.
Oh, sweet. That
Yeah,
sounds
yeah,
awesome.
Yeah, he's
Wow.
pretty stoked about it.
That's
So,
cool.
Yeah, man, it's good having you. It's so much snow out there. I think that we've gotten the essence of whom he is, so that we can have a show next week, and maybe.
Yeah.
I'm really worried about you, dear.
Yes.
I really am. She had to go all the way across town to get home.
Yeah.
Derek, Lisa wants to ask you a question.
Yeah.
Okay,
Really?
so our listeners are all about how we love to infuse hope and encouragement to the world.
Yes.
So we want to give you a moment to look at that camera
Yeah.
and do just that. Encourage the world
Yeah.
and then share how they can reach you.
Perfect. Yeah, you're not alone. We created a network here to help anybody that's going through mental health stuff, addiction stuff. If you're thinking about quitting, or if you just want somebody to talk to, encouraging words, anything like that, we're here for you. Like I said, I've been down the craziest path you could ever imagine, and I came out on the other side just fine. I like to think so anyway. So, but yeah,
We'll ask Lexi.
Yeah,
next
yeah,
year.
yeah.
I can't wait to meet you,
Yes,
Lexi.
yes.
Do you guys know how to dance for your wedding? Because my husband and I teach couples before they, for their wedding.
You know what?
dance.
We actually might take you up on that.
Okay,
She
yeah.
actually just
We're
had
really
that
good at
conversation the
it.
other day. So, but yeah, you're not alone. Feel free to reach out to me on Facebook, Derrek Villagrana, or you can reach out on at our website, riseaslions.org. It has all of our information there. And New Visions, just Google New Visions. If you have a child that's needing some guidance or some help or whatever, like I said, we accept all major medical, insurances, Medicaid, all that stuff. So don't hesitate to reach out. You got an army behind you. You just take that first step to getting help.
Indeed. Yeah, thanks, Derek.
Thanks for having me,
Yeah,
guys.
it's
This was a blast.
Guys, before we wrap, we want to shout out Westco Insurance and our dear friend Karen Butcher. She loves helping people and get the best services ever. She's my insurance agent.
She's mine too.
And contact her through our website at beencouraged.net. And you can also go to westcoinsurance.com and look up Karen Butcher. And also our dear friend Brandon Kirk at Planet Duck. He and his team offer astronomical air duct cleaning with the most powerful vacuum trucks in Colorado. And they are stronger than the vacuum of space. Indeed. Wrap us.
So more and more people are seeing the benefits of sponsorship with us. So we're now up to 25 sponsors within only 14 months. Visit us at beencouraged.net to become a sponsor and get your name out to our growing audience. Our platinum sponsor has seen an aggressive 900% growth in their business in just 7 months. So like and follow us on Facebook and LinkedIn to join us on our journey to extend hope and encouragement and help people realize their potential through networking, collaboration, and community involvement. And remember, if you want to join us internationally on Instagram, go to our website and select international via Instagram to join us live from anywhere in the world.
We appreciate all of you that engage our show. The message of hope and encouragement is one that resonates in humanity right now. So if you want to join us, sponsor us, be a part, go to beencouraged.net and do that. We are so awesome. Isn't it a great privilege to be able to do this?
It is.
Yeah.
I love it. I look forward to Mondays.
I do too.
This is
Thank
awesome.
you again, Derek.
Thank you so much for
Thanks,
having me,
Derek.
guys.
You guys
This was
have a
awesome.
wonderful weekend. Please stay safe.
Yes.